Here we go. All right. I have this conversation, and this comes up quite a bit. And for some reason, some students get intimidated by it. Some students don't understand what exit cap rates are, or what termination cap rates are all about. And I want to just spend a little bit of time here just going over exactly what exit cap rates are and why we discuss them. Because what you have to understand is that when you're sitting down pitching a deal to a potential investor, the reason why these people have money is because they're smart about money. And they're going to want to look at your analysis and understand, what have you done to tell me why I should put my money into your particular deal? And one of the things that you need to think about when you're looking at a property, and what your investors are thinking about when they're thinking about investing in your property, is, what is your exit strategy? And so based upon that exit strategy, your analysis should show the results of your exit strategy. And when you put together that exit strategy, even if it's especially if it's a buy and hold, you're going to hold that property for the next 5 years. Okay, so what is that property going to be worth in 5 years? Well, in addition to obviously here's the equation right here. What we're trying to solve for is that, what we're calling here in this analysis, the purchase price, but what really should be the value of the property. What is the value of the property 5 years from now? And so what we have to do is consider those two variables that will determine what that value price actually is: the net operating income and the exit cap rate. Okay, so let me kind of run through here with you a couple of things. Now, remember, in the cash flow analyzer, when you're sitting there putting in the income, you can set the income to increase every year by a certain percentage. Now, most of the time, I think the default number is 2%. Okay, so if you leave 2% in there, that means that as the cash flow analyzer is looking at your property over years, it's going to increase the income by 2% every year. And then the expenses will be lowered, the expenses will increase by a lower percentage based upon what you put in there. And the default number is 1%. Okay, so what that's telling you is that over time, your NOI is going to grow, because your income is going to be hopefully larger than your expenses. So if it increases by a higher percentage than what your expenses, your NOI will grow. So in the cash flow analyzer, 5 years from now, when you're going to sit down in front of your investor and show him how great this property is, you'll be able to show him that 5 years from now, my income is higher. Perfect. All right. Now, the next variable, though, is the cap rate. We've set the NOI to increase. Beautiful. But does the cap rate increase every year? Okay. Does the cap rate, when you buy it today at 6%, will it go up over the next 5 years to 7 to 8? Does it go down, or does it remain the same? And that is what a smart investor is going to want to see by looking at your analysis, looking at your private placement memorandum, all your numbers. They're going to look at it and say, okay, what are you projecting this exit cap rate to be? Now, show of hands and chime in on the chat box here. What is the one thing that will change about your property between the time that you purchase it and the time that it sells? Okay, what is that one thing, somebody's chiming in, that you have absolutely no control over, but it's going to happen anyway? Age. Exactly. Time. It's going to get older. Okay, so if your property gets older, put it up here, what's going to happen to the cap rate? Sue Mack, the cap rate's going to go up. So that means that if nothing changes to the market, if nothing changes to what's going on in the economy, if nothing changes over the next 5 years, your exit cap rate is going to be high, or should be higher than what it is on day one. Okay, So that is what you need to think about when you're looking at this exit cap rate. When you're going to sit down with an investor and he says, well, what's your exit cap rate? Remember this conversation, and this is how you need to think about it. All right. Now, I just gave you an example of when none of the variables change. Okay. So what do we need to take into consideration when we're thinking about exit cap rates? Now, take a look at this sign here. Let me see what the person's chat box is. I can tell that Sumac is talking to somebody privately. His rule of thumb, 25 basis points per year. But Sue, but what you might want to be, that might be too aggressive because it's too low. To be more conservative in your analysis, you might need to bump up that exit cap rate, because I'll tell you, when Kate and I were always going out there to pitch a deal, there was one investor we would go to see first, and this guy would rip our analysis apart and then invest with us. And he was the guy that would say, you only went up 25 basis points in your exit cap rate. You think it's only going to go up 25 basis points? And you're like, damn, maybe I should have shown him a 6 to a 6.5 cap, just so that you can make sure that your numbers, when you stress your numbers, that the numbers still worked on the deal. So take a look at this particular slide. And what I want you to do is look at the bottom 4 boxes, just to take into consideration some of those additional factors besides age that go into play in determining how the cap rates are set, or how the cap rates change. If your rents go up, and this is, we're talking about the whole market, okay? Not just the NOI, the changes in the NOI. Increasing the rates, declining vacancies, increasing in your net absorption rate, the faster you're able to put people into the units, the employment growth of the market going up. All of these things are going towards increasing and improving the real estate market that you're in, which is going to go towards increasing or reducing the cap rate in your market, reducing the risk in your market, and thereby reducing the cap rate. Now, if there's an improving market, what happens to your risk perceptions? They're going to go down. That means your cap rate's going to go down. What about appreciation expectations? If they're improving, we didn't have much 2007, 2008. We didn't have much to speak of regarding the appreciation. So therefore, we did not have a reducing cap rate environment. So take a look at this slide here. This will give you an idea of those other factors that you need to think about and be prepared to talk about when you're sitting in front of an investor. All right. And this all comes back to that termination cap rate, the exit cap rate number. So let me just wrap it up here with this one particular slide, if I can get this thing to move. So listen, when you're calculating your exit cap rate, just be cautious, be able to defend your number when you're sitting down there in front of your investor, so that you sound intelligent, you know what you're talking about. Because man, if you can't answer these questions about your financial analysis in front of your investor, you're dead. You're dead. They're not gonna want to put their money in your deal because they don't think you've done your homework. All right. So this is what we mean when we're talking about exit cap rates. All right. That's number 10.